So, you're new to Alteryx and excited about the possibilities, but maybe aren't entirely sure where to get started? Join the club. Hey everyone, Chad Martin, founder of Data Prep U here, focused on training and educating you and your team on the Alteryx platform. Now, in today's video, we're going to walk through some of the most common pitfalls, some of the most common issues that our students actually encounter when getting started with a new platform. And what we're going to do is work through each of those things and make some recommendations based on what we've seen work with our customers. Now, as always, we've got the list of items outlined in the description below. And so I encourage you just to read through that. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe as always, and hit that bell if you want to be notified anytime we have a new video coming out. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so whenever you first start learning about Alteryx, there are a few key items that we want to keep in mind, and three key pitfalls that we actually see people encounter. The first one is time. Too often I hear our students say, you know what, I wanted to get into it, I just didn't have enough time. And I do get that. I myself have been in that situation plenty of times where I'm trying to get into something and it just takes entirely too long to figure it out, or entirely too long to complete the process. What my recommendation is force yourself, set aside 15 minutes per day. And that may seem like a lot, but I promise that what's going to happen is that 15 minutes will increasingly become more and more important to you and more valuable. What I like to do personally is put on some headphones, put on some ambient music, instrumental type stuff, and go through and actually try to work through a problem, try to solve some sort of a challenge. And in that 15 minutes, what's going to happen is you're going to find that becoming more and more complex, or what you're going to be doing is going to be more complex. Now, in addition to that, you're also going to start to notice that that 15 minutes is going to start increasing in time as well. That 15 might turn into 30 minutes or an hour or more. And what's going to happen is that time is then going to become your most valuable time in your entire day, because that time is going to get you moving the needle. It's going to get you working through that backlog of projects. And as you become more comfortable and familiar with the platform and all of the different tools that are available to help you perform those tasks, such as date time functions, regression analysis, or some simple items just as pulling in multiple different data sources to pivot and report on them, you will find that time becoming more and more valuable for you. Okay, now, the second item is that Alteryx is incredibly powerful, and all of our students realize that. And if they don't realize it, they begin to realize it very quickly based off of the trainings that we go through that are focused on use case solutions. Now, the problem that they encounter though, and that many students encounter, is that they feel that those large use cases are the only thing that they should be using something like Alteryx for. I'll give you an example. I was actually working with a customer one time, and it was a group, and there was someone in IT, and nothing against IT, but they were looking at this in the same way. They were saying, oh, that use case isn't big enough for Alteryx. This use case isn't big enough for Alteryx. So what happened? The entire room just fell silent because they all felt that anything they were working on wasn't a big enough use case. Luckily, I was there to interject, and so we started talking through some of those use cases, and some of them were very simple transformations, but you know what? They took somewhere around, let's say, 30 minutes per week per person. So think about this. If you take that 30-minute process that you have to do every single week and you cut it down to 30 seconds, you're now gaining 29 and a half minutes per week back in your week. That equates to around 1,475 minutes per year, which is around 24 and a half hours or so. So you're going to get 24 and a half hours per year. And you think, well, that might not be a whole lot, but once again, that was one single use case. Now imagine that using your 15 minutes per day to then create 10 use cases, and then 20, and then 50, and 100 use cases. That time that you're getting back, that value that you're building, begins to grow exponentially. So once again, less is more. Don't think that you have to have some massive, gigantic use case just to justify the existence of Alteryx in your organization. In fact, my recommendation is actually focus on those smaller tasks. The big ones will come. They will be there. But if you look at those smaller tasks, that begins to get you those quick wins over and over again, continually building your confidence and building your skill set. All right. So the third and final recommendation based on the pitfalls is that too many people in our sessions, when they first begin, they're way too quiet. until of course they get to know us. And then it becomes a lot more conversational and we end up solving many, many more problems, but they are too quiet. So my recommendation is ask questions, or as Ted Lasso put it, be curious. Think about those things that you're actually trying to work through. And every time somebody asks you a question or knocks on your desk and comes in and says, hey, can I get a little bit of help? I encourage you to try to think about solving that problem using the Alteryx Designer. Ask those questions. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to us as well to ask those questions, whether it be in the comments below or directly in our platform as a customer. Ask questions. Be curious. Think about those different types of things that you may be able to solve with that designer based on everything that you're doing today. All right. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next time where we start to focus and continue to build on a lot of this content and a lot of the common types of issues that a lot of our students face. What we would encourage you to do is let us know, what do you find valuable? What would you like to see in some of these videos? We are happy to tailor those specifically to what's going to be the best for our customers. As with before, check down in the description below to actually look for a couple of those links for a couple of the free training resources that we have directly on dataprepu.com, in addition to some of our more premium offerings that include live office hours, so being able to ask the expert, looking for some help with a specific project or an extra set of hands or even just an extra set of eyes just to make a recommendation. In addition to that, we do have a series of live weekly trainings that are use case focused through dataprepu.com as well. Again, links down in the description for that. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next time.